Hey there, it's been a while. I keep saying the same thing every time, but yeah, I don't know, life just keeps getting in the way sometimes. Anyway, the topic of this video. So a friend of mine called Ella Yen, is how it's actually pronounced, asked me to do a vocal chain video. So I thought, why not? I'll just share how I mix my vocals and how I prepare them for people who ask me to mix their vocals for them. So we're here in FL Studio now. Just to emphasize, these vocals are very old and I don't remember the original files of these vocals, so this might be a previous version of the recording because they might sound not too good. I've already mixed the song. I don't know, maybe it will come out sometime soon, hopefully. Before I get started on the mixing tips, I do want to emphasize this. So I do want to emphasize one thing, is that no matter how good you are at mixing vocals, you will not be able to fix bad recordings. So please, for the love of God, please, if you're paying a singer or if you're a singer yourself, make sure your recording is good, because you will not be able to fix bad recording with mixing. You will only ever be able to get to mid quality, and even that is like the best estimate. Now that we have that out of the way, let's dive into the mixing project. Tip number one, always know that BPM of your song, because if you're mixing in a different project file, you will have an easier time to line up your vocals. Here's the vocal. I will play you without my mixer chain real quickly. So again, emphasis on these being old, and the singer of this is Ella Yen. You should definitely make sure to check her out. She's awesome, one of the best human beings I know, so, and one of the best singers I know as well. So yeah, make sure to go and support her. I'll leave the links in the description.
Sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror when you see what you don't like.
Okay, so those are raw vocals, and here's with my mix, with my vocal chain.
Sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror when you see what you don't like.
Another thing that I wanted to say, since I do mixing for other people as well, I usually prepare vocals to like the very basic level, to the very minimal level of like quality, and then let the other people do whatever they want to do with the vocals. I'll quickly run down the mixer chain and then I'll share some of the tips. This is my vocal chain right here. Again, most of these plugins are free. The only paid plugin is Pro Q4, and even that there's a free version. First is Autotune. I use this one, it's free. I've used it for all my vocals. I use them for every singer I mix vocals for, and it does the job perfectly. So yeah, I highly recommend this Autotune. So yeah, I usually keep it at a 25% depth. This is the Autotune amount, you know, how robotic do you want your vocals to be. So I usually keep it at 25%. Next, I have a compressor. These are the settings that I keep it at. I believe these are called technically mid to fast. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but that's how I believe they're called. I use this compressor right here, Molotov by TDR. Very good compressor. My ratio is always at 3 to 1. Again, this can vary depending on vocal to vocal. This is not my, like, you know, not just a single vocal chain that will never be changed ever. I always keep, like, you know, adjusting settings and stuff. Here's my EQ. Usually this is how the EQ looks for me for vocals, especially for female singers. For males it would be a bit different. Voice ranges and frequency ranges vary from person to person, so make sure you know how you want your vocals to sound. But yeah, for Ella, on her recording they are a bit muddy and they lack high end, so I usually like have to bump it up. Since, you know, there's always some harshness, I do have like a dynamic EQ afterwards, ducking the frequency ranges every time that the vocal plays. So just to give an example, so for people who don't know,
sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror.
Now, to most people, you won't necessarily hear the difference, but it makes a massive difference when you're mixing and mastering the song. With the dynamic EQ, it makes it so it doesn't do those changes throughout the song. It only does it to the points where it is too much. And finally, I have fresh air. This is just to like give it a bit of like cleany airiness that I really like. So I usually keep these settings, but again, I want to emphasize this again. This depends on singer to singer. It does not mean it. These are not the exact setting that I have for every single singer. Depending on who's singing it and what type of song it is and what type of range they have, I will change these settings. These are just, I'm just showing you the basic settings that I usually have. After this, I have a reverb. I use Fruity Reverb. So my theory of like making music is you can do most of the shenanigans of making music with your default plugins. Hence why I use mostly FL Studio plugins. Before you spend money on buying plugins, learn your default plugins, because I'm pretty sure you can do the same stuff with your default plugins. Recently, I've started using VocalSense as well. I can show you real quickly how to do that. Usually it's like, let's say this is the vocal, you know, turn off the reverb, send it to like this channel right here. Let's call it reverb. In FL Studio, at least, I would put a Fruity Peak controller. Yeah, adjust the settings a bit, then put like a reverb plugin. Again, I'm just doing this very quickly. These are the settings that I went with.
Sometimes it's hard.
Lower the volume until it's good, and then I grab this mix knob right here and I link it to Fruity Peak controller of the peak, you know, the peak session, and the input is inverted, so it plays when the vocal is not playing. So this is how it sounds.
Sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror when you see what you don't like.
Again, you have to play around with the settings here on how you want the vocal to sound, but that's how ReverbSense works in FL Studio, at least. If you don't want to use them, you can absolutely do this as well, although you will get a less clean result, but it does work because most of the songs that I signed with labels and released up until now, I've never used a ReverbSense, so you don't necessarily have to, but it is something that will make your vocal qualities that much better. Another thing that I like to do is, you see these things right here, these are the harsh frequencies. In FL Studio we have these colorful waveforms where it tells you which is the low end, high end, and etc. So yeah, usually these are very harsh frequencies, like your S's and T's. You could probably hear in my audio too, because I don't have a pop filter, so all my and these things, you can hear them very well. To avoid those, the thing that I like to do is I usually like to go through the vocal itself, cut out these parts, and then reduce the volume of them manually. Okay, so I just did these like few words and I left it here. You will notice the difference when I press play.
Sometimes it's hard to look in the mirror when you see
what I mean? It helps with those like very hard frequencies. The reason I prefer to do it this way, I know it's a lot of work and it can be annoying. I get annoyed by it too, but in my opinion, it gives you a better result compared to what a de-esser would do, because for a de-esser it will hit those frequency ranges, and those frequency ranges can always be, you know, other words as well, and they can make them less bright, in my opinion. At least that's what because I use dynamic EQs in de-essing modes, and those did some, like, you know, those things, they made the vocal sound a bit darker, but I prefer to do it this way because it gives you like a cleaner result, and you can like compress your vocals so it doesn't sound too quiet, but it still sounds just quiet enough where it doesn't hurt your ears. And yeah, that's basically about it for this video, honestly. I just wanted to show you my basic vocal mixing tips and tricks, if that helps. And yeah, if you like the way I mix the vocals, I can throw some examples on the before I end this video. I can throw some examples of my vocal mixes. Feel free to send me a DM on Instagram, which will be in the description, to, you know, have me mix your vocals. And yeah, again, if you like this video, please leave a like. If this video helped you in any way, shape or form, please consider sharing it, and subscribe if you want to stick around and see where we go with this channel. And you know, we have more music coming out this year. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.